Like most amateur golfers, when I play bad golf, which is quite a lot of the time, I like to blame my golf clubs rather than blaming myself. But actually, there is one part of my bag that I've never felt truly comfortable with, and I know a lot of you guys are the same. So in this video, I'm going to mention that part of the golf bag and try and find the perfect golf club for me and lots of you watching at home. Everyone watching at home knows the rules of golf allow us to have 14 golf clubs in the bag. And a lot of those golf clubs are a given. Obviously, we're going to go putter, a sand wedge, a driver, a 3-wood, and then your irons in between. So we have a little bit of creativity in there where you can be a bit bespoke and choose the clubs that you kind of really favour, whether it's a lob wedge, whether it's a gap wedge, whether it's a hybrid or a long iron. But for me growing up, and even now in my kind of older golfing days, I've never known what club to have in between my 3-wood and my longest iron. So I've had spells of having a 7-wood, I've had spells of having a hybrid, I've had long irons, driving irons, you name it, I've tried it. And I've never really landed on that one club that I feel like deserves a place in the bag forever. And again, I see a lot of the comments on the H.I.T channel, on Rick's Instagram, etc. And you guys seem to be the same. So in this video today, I'm going to try out 3 golf clubs that in theory do the same or very similar things, but slightly different. So I've used Ping as the example today, and I've got a Ping 7-wood, I've got a Ping hybrid, and I've got a Ping 3-iron, like a driving iron. I'm going to hit some shots on GC Quad with Pro V1s and have a look at the pros and cons of each golf club, because there's definitely some pros to a 7-wood, but there's some potential downsides, and there's some huge pros with a 3-iron, like a driving iron, but again, some downsides. And a hybrid is a club that I've never massively loved. But let's try them, let's see what happens. Let's see what the good shots do, what the bad shots do, and more importantly, tell you guys watching which of these golf clubs should you put in the bag. Okay, so as I mentioned, the brand I'm using for this experiment is Ping. No kind of preference to that, it's just that in the Rick's kind of studio where we have a lockup of all the golf clubs, we had a good selection from Ping, as I said, in hybrids, in driving irons and in 7-woods. So this one that I've got first off is the Ping IDI 3-iron. And you say 3-iron, really behind the golf ball, it's so much bulkier, so much thicker, so much kind of confidence building than a normal 3-iron, and it is the kind of club that I have liked before. It's got a graphite shaft, it's got a Tensei graphite shaft, we've got the multi-compound grip, and the best part of this test is all the 3 clubs have the same shaft and the same grip, so they should feel quite familiar in the hand and quite consistent. But off the tee, I mean, this is really, for me, it's a golf club that I'd use off the tee or off the deck. We've put ourselves here on a hole, so it's a bit more of a realistic test. And it would be somewhere that, again, I would hit this golf club, because my driver, as you may well know, isn't very consistent. So I often look for golf clubs off a tee that might give me a bit more chance of a fairway. So I don't really know how far this is going to go. I want it to be forgiving. I'm going to use no tee. It's like it's a fairway style lie. Let's see what this does first off. Now that was hit really, really well. That was a great strike. Hit the fairway, which would be objective number 1. Going out to 251, which I would be absolutely over the moon with. It's a great start. Now, to let you into a little bit of kind of behind the scenes, I've had these kind of golfs before. When they're good, they are very good. What you typically find when you hit these off-centre is you will lose a lot of distance from front to back. So your good one might go 250, your bad one might go 190 and give you kind of quite sore fingers. And obviously, again, you can hit it offline a long way. With things like the 7-wood and hybrid, I would expect they would be more consistent front to back. But then what worries me sometimes with longer, like 7-woods, is that they can go more offline, you are getting more speed, etc. That's what I'm thinking. I might be totally wrong. I might be absolutely eating my words in this video, who knows. Let's go a few more with this nice, kind of forgiving 3-iron. Oh, that was great. Wow. I mean, when you hit a long iron like that, there's nothing better in the game of golf, let's be honest. Right down the target line, 254, 255 total distance. Wow. Maybe this video should end now. Maybe this is all I've needed all my golf in life, this 3-iron. Oh, see, that was a terrible one. That felt horrendous, but might go in the bunkering, to be fair. And that's why this is a great test, because on the normal kind of down range, that would look okay. It's gone out to, what's it gone out to, 200 and something yards, 214, but it would be in a bunker on a hole like this, which isn't ideal. And that is where you're going to lose a bit of forgiveness. That felt terrible, moved offline. Obviously a bit of user error, of course it was. But again, you don't get any real bad shots like that. You will get punished for these kind of clubs. one. Oh. Okay, that was a really good test. There were some golf shots there that I honestly can't do any better than. 10 out of 10, nailed down the fairway, 250 odd yards. There's a couple of golf shots that went miles left. Yes, they were user error, they were hit like so far from the toe, it's unbelievable. But that's what you will see, these longer irons. You know, your good shots will go very well. Your bad shots, maybe not so forgiving. Now again, this test is off of what would be a very nice fairway lie. If you have a golf club in the bag like this, it might be a bit more redundant from those thick, juicy, rough lies. And that's probably where like a 7 wood or a hybrid might be a bit more of your friend. That was a good test so far. Let me try the hybrid next. So that drive 9 was 20 degrees. This hybrid is also 20 degrees. But interestingly, again, they've got the same shaft, same grip. When you put them down side by side, there's a little bit more length, not much, but 1 inch longer in the hybrid. So you would expect that longer length shaft, a bit more clubhead speed, which might then and should then mean more distance, but might mean a bit more sprayed golf shots. So something to know. Hybrids really have been around now for a good while. About the mid-2000s, maybe early 2000s, TaylorMade launched a TaylorMade Rescue Mid, which was so popular, and I had one. And I loved having it in the golf bag because they were quite cool, they were all the fashion. I could never really hit it very well. I don't know why it was, I could never hit it very well. And it probably scarred me. I was only kind of 11, 12 or something at the time. But ever since then, I've been quite reluctant to use a hybrid. A lot of golfers are, equally a lot of golfers, and again, you guys watching, a lot of people love hybrids. They are a good club to have if it does fit that gap in your bag and if you like it. Let me see what I've got no real expectations with this, but let's hit some. Behind the ball, it does look nice, to be fair. It's very kind of straight leading edge, very simple looking. Wow, I pulled it, I have, but that was nailed. But in terms of strike and feel, that felt lovely. And again, the big thing with this test, it's not so much about the great shots, because I'm going to hit great shots with them all I can. I can also hit terrible shots with them all. So it's what they look like consistently, and what are the launches like? Do they come up nice and high? Do they go low? You'd imagine this would go higher than the 3-iron. Again, such a lovely hit, but I have pulled it a fraction. Wow. Again, it's in that sand, but it's such a nice hit. Okay, let me hit a few more. Let me really get my kind of stuck into this hybrid, because if I can get it going a bit straighter, I could have found a lovely little golf club here. My golf ball, I think, has a magnet in it and it's getting sucked into that bunker, which isn't great. If this was a real hole, I wouldn't be in position A, granted. But I think there's some holes where I'd get away with that. It's quite a tight hole, this. That's fine for the test. But tell you what, strike-wise, feel-wise, flight-wise, I cannot fault it. Now that one, please, Mr. Bunker, because that was nailed. Yes, that's on the fairway. Yeah. Just yes. That was awesome. That was interesting. That felt like that was going to go off the face of the earth. It was going to go right, and it kind of came back around again. No surprise, very nearly in the bunker. But forgiveness-wise, that is the shot where that exact shot with the 3-iron wouldn't have gone there. I can guarantee you, it wouldn't have done. One or two more of this, because I'm quite enjoying hitting it, and then it's the 7 wood. As I said, there's definitely some sort of magnet in my golf ball, because the amount of shots that went left of target into that bunker there was atrocious. Taking that out for a second though, not worrying too much about where they actually went in terms of direction. Feel was great, forgiveness was really good as well. Kind of front to back dispersion didn't feel too bad. But this is the one I'm most excited about, I think. This is the 7 wood. So I actually have myself before had a 7 wood, and it was a ping one as well. A good few years ago. And there was pros, there was cons, but there must have been a few more cons than pros. It left the bag after about 6 months. This one is actually the highest lofted of all the 3 golf clubs. This is 21 degrees aloft, whereas this 3-iron and the hybrid are 20 degrees aloft. However, if we look at shaft length here, we'll notice now the 7 wood is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches longer than the hybrid. And if you remember, the hybrid was actually longer than the 3-iron, so it's the longest length of golf club. It's obviously got the biggest head, most forgiveness. This should, in theory, go the furthest because that length of golf club, that swing speed it'll generate. And it should go very high as well. It's the most lofted with the most speed and probably the most spin. It should pop up in the air. When I had a 7 wood before, the reason I didn't like it was it occasionally felt like on a windy day, it went so high that I could almost lose it, if that makes sense. It would just go up in the air and then the wind could knock it and it could kind of get out of play. However, we're seeing now so many tour pros are using 7 woods and even 9 woods. I think Tommy Fleetwood has a 9 wood in the bag at the minute. If these guys who are the best players in the world are using these really lofted clubs, these lofted woods, why aren't we? So let's hit some of this, let's get a feel for it. And then what I'm really excited to do, a bit nerdy I know, is look at the data. Like, it's one thing what I think or what I feel, but what is the data suggesting that I should use? And again, more importantly, what can you learn from this data yourselves? Here she is, a 7 wood. Now, probably the most obvious statement you'll hear today is that behind the ball, looks like a wood. If you've got a 3 wood in the bag, you've got a 5 wood in the bag, no surprise, a 7 wood. Looks like a 5 wood, bit more loft. Looks nice, it gives you kind of confidence behind the golf ball. And again, an obvious statement, there's 21 degrees of loft. You can see a lot of that face. You know, normally the wood having lower loft, you don't see as much, but with that, it presents so much loft behind the golf ball. And quite a tight lie like this, I'm looking at that thinking, it wants to pick the ball up, it wants to go in the air, which is a great feeling. You know, for most golfers, that's a good thing to think. Let's try to avoid that bunker this time. Oh wow, that has gone so, now again, it's gone left, kind of no surprise, but wow, totally different flight. Felt awesome. It really, really did feel good, that. Let's try again. Let's really try and hit one down this fairway though. Let's stop hitting that bunker, come on. I'm playing the best round of my life. I need a par to finish. What would I do? Let's see. I would put it in the trees. No surprise, that is exactly what I would do. That was real, because if you know my golf, you know if I had a good scorecard going in the last hole, that is exactly what I would do. Not great, but that's why you're watching me test these today as a kind of a real everyday golfer. I do hit bad golf shots, as you do watching at home. And annoyingly, I hit more bad shots than I hit good shots, but you know, these tests, they're authentic. I hit bad shots and you will see them. Oh, that was nailed. That is why I hate golf and love golf, because that was a scratch handicapper's golf shot. The one before was a 54 handicap golf shot. That was unreal. That felt amazing. But if I'm being a little bit picky, didn't go quite as far as I maybe thought it would, but definitely went high. So it's just very different, isn't it, to the 3-iron? Similar distance, but just gets there in a totally different way. Oh, again, same flight. High, bit left, not ideal. But flight-wise, you can't fault the flight. Oh, that was delightful. That was amazing. And this is why, it's no secret, if you look at tour pros, again, like a Tommy Fleetwood or any of those guys, they will have 7 woods, 9 woods, they'll also have 2-irons, 3-irons, and they'll swap them depending on what golf course they're going to, because they will get such different flights. For us kind of mere mortals who don't want to spend that kind of money or maybe play at the same golf course every week, there's no point having 3 or 4 of them and swapping them, you know, because you just can't do that. But that just shows you, again, without getting into the data just too much yet, that flight versus the 3-iron, although it's going a similar distance, it's such a different way of doing it. So I think annoyingly, I'm kind of going to answer my question a bit in this video, but I'm also kind of not. It's a case of they all do different things, but still roughly the same distance. Now that was very fat. Yeah, that was a terrible one. And that one, that exact golf shot there is the little thing that puts me off a 7 wood, because it was terrible. That was me, of course it was. But because I've got that longer length shaft than I would with the 3-iron, it really feels like there's more speed. And when there's more speed, there's more that can go wrong. But yeah, that's me. Obviously, that is me. But okay, 1 or 2 more, and then we'll look at the data. That was nice. Lovely high ball flight. Okay, I'm going to try and hit 1 more now. And this is the real one. This is really now, I'm 5 over par and I'm on 18. I need to par it, shoot a 77, let's say. First job, hit the fairway. Come on, can I do it with the pressure? Can I do it? Oh, he's nailed it, but it's going left. I think that's going to be bunker. The scorecard gets ripped up. The tears come out the eye. The club over the knee. Let's look at the data. Okay, so no surprises there. A lot of what we're going to see in the data we saw actually hitting the shots. But first of all, they all carried relatively similar distance. Not quite, but similar-ish. The 3-iron 230, the 7-wood 238, and the 3 hybrid 242. So that was a little bit further. Ball speeds, obviously there was more ball speed with the 7-wood. It's a longer golf club, more club head speed, more ball speed. That was 149. The 3 hybrid was 146, and the 3-iron was 140. When we look at the flights as well, you can see how much higher the 7-wood was going, really high in the air and then landing quite steep, versus the much kind of flatter flight of the 3-iron, whereas the hybrid kind of sat in between the two. And then dispersion-wise, for me personally, I had a really nice tight dispersion with the hybrid. The 3-iron was quite wayward, and the 7-wood was kind of in between the two. So overall, really, any one of those clubs could go in my bag and kind of fill that gap between 4-iron and mini driver, or 4-iron and 3-wood. But they're going to do different jobs. For me overall, I think looking at that test, the hybrid's got to be the winner. Not a club I'd really used before, but very much I can't go against the data. What I would suggest to you guys watching is take a little bit from this video, but when you are looking to go and get a golf club to go in that part of the golf bag, please go and try them out. Ideally on a system like this, or even on the golf course as well, because they're very, very different. Yes, they're all the same loft pretty much, but how they work, they're so different. Go and give them a try. If you like this video, please hit the like button, leave a comment down below. If you want more videos from an average golfer who hits them in bunkers, let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.